Hello and welcome. This is Swift Learn. So we'll be solving Waec further mathematics past question 2020. So these are first theory question for Waec, and I'll read the question. It says a binary operation, that's the operation is the asterisk there, is not asterisk, is operation, is defined on a set of real numbers R. So R signifies real numbers by P operation Q equals to P plus Q minus PQ divided by 2, where PQ contains R. Find A. The A question is find the inverse of -1 under the operation given that the identity element is 0, and B is find the truth set of M operation 7 equals to M operation 5. So let's get started and start solving our question. So the first thing you want to solve, this is Waec, your solutions must be intact. That's, you must have everything intact. Okay, so the first thing is you write your question. So the question is you have to write that your operation, you have P operation Q equals to P plus Q minus PQ divided by 2. So you are asked to find the inverse under -1. What it means is that there is a formula, and the formula says when you have A operation, inverse of A must give you your identity element. So here you are asked to get the inverse of -1, not P, neither is it Q. So you can just say, okay, let my you cannot say let my -1 inverse be equals to A, for instance. So I'm going to have -1. So let me rub this off. Okay, let me rub this off. So I have to write that. So I have -1 operation. So instead of -1 inverse, I'll write A equals to what? E, identity element. So we are told that the identity element is 0 according to the question here. So okay, I will have -1 operation A equals to what? 0. So we are going to make use of this operation. We are going to express this operation in the form of this formula. So you see that the first element is P and why it is -1. So I write -1. Then you have plus, where you have A is you have Q, so you are going to write A here, minus, you have -1 bracket A divided by 2 equals to what? 0. So our aim is to get this inverse, that's the A here. So you just perform your operations. -1 plus A plus -1 times minus is plus A divided by 2 equals to 0. So you bring this over here, it becomes A plus A divided by 2 is 3A divided by 2 equals to 1. So here you should have your A will be equals to 2 over 3 once you cross multiply. So that means our inverse of -1 equals what? 2 divided by 3. So I'm just going to rub this off and do the B question. So here our B question says we have to get M operation 7 equals to M operation 5. So how are we going to do that? Your own is just to follow this formula. As long as you have the same operation, you have to follow the formula in this format. So where you saw M here and why it was P, so you just replace, it means just you can just see M equals to the P, then you can just see 7 here is equals to the Q. That's for this first set, while the other set is P equals to M, and while your Q equals to what? 5. So it's just like you are replacing something. So let's solve our B question. So the first thing is true set of M. So you just have M plus 7, right? Minus, you have M times 7, which is 7M divided by 2 equals to, you do the same thing for here. This one will be M plus 5 minus 5M divided by 2. So this topic is called binary operation. You can check your textbook to get more knowledge about that. Okay, so we have M plus 7 here. let's just work on this, please. You have 1 minus 7 over 2. What is 1 minus 7 over 2? Okay, thank goodness we have our calculator here. So let's make use of our calculator. So let's do 1 minus 7 over 2. So you can see it from here. Okay, so we have minus 5 over 2. Okay, so we have here will be minus 5m divided by 2 plus 7 equals to m minus 5 divided by 2 will be minus 3 over 2m plus 5. So if you take this over here, let's just correct like terms. You have minus 5m divided by 2 plus 3m divided by 2, okay, equals to 5 minus 7. So once you have this, you know what we should have. We should have okay, if you want to collect LCM, if you want to do it by local way, this will give you minus 2, right? So you have minus 5m plus 3m is minus 2m divided by 2. Sorry, let me just rub this off. Okay, divided by 2 equals to minus 2. So this will cancel this. If you know, I should have, I will have minus m equals to minus 2. So when you divide both sides by minus 1, your m will give you what? Will be equals to 2. So this is your final answer. So once they tell you to get the truth set of m operation 7 equals to m operation 5, I was trying to tell you to get the value for m, and the value of m is what? Is 2. So let's move on to the next question. Alright, moving on to question 2a. We have two functions p and q are defined on a set of real numbers r by p as a function of y. That's the meaning of this. That means p is denoted by y. It means p have y. Just this semicolon here just means like p equals to 2y plus 3. That's just the meaning. It's just like telling you that the y depends on what? On p. Sorry, the p depends on y rather. The y is the independent function. We call it independent function. Why the p is the dependent function? Because it depends on this. Why is that? Because if y increases, for example, let's say y is 2, p will kind of go up. If y is, let's say 1, p is going to go down. So that's why we call it dependent, and this is independent. So the question says find q of p. It means make this q an independent function of, make this p, sorry, an independent function of q. So let's just get started with the question. We have p of y, that's tends to 2y plus 3. That tends to also means equals to yq of y tends to y square minus 2. So you have q of p. So what does that mean? It means q bracket p bracket of y. So simple thing is just put this your p equation inside your q. So now look at q. Now q is y square minus 2, right? So anywhere I see y, I'm going to put what? P of y. So here I saw y, I'm going to put p of y. And what is p of y? 2y plus 3 all squared. You have minus 2 here, minus 2. Just a very easy question. So let's open this. We open this way, like just to get your full marks in your exam. That's the aim of doing this tutorial. So you have 2y times 2y is 4y squared. 2y times this is plus 6y. 3 times 2y is plus 6y also. 3 times 3 is plus 9 minus what? 2. So we have q of p will be equals to 4y square plus 6y is plus 12y. 9 minus 2 is what? Plus 7. So this is your final answer for question 2a. So let's see question 2b. Alright, let's solve question 2b. So the question says, how many 4-digit odd numbers greater than 4,000 can be formed from 1, 7, 3, 8 and 2 if repetition is allowed? This is a permutation question. This is permutation of repetition. So you have to look at all the conditions that are entailed in this question. The first condition is that it must be a 4-digit number. That's the first condition. You have to note that. The second condition is that it must be greater than what? 4,000. Then the third condition is if repetition is allowed. That means we have repetition in our question. Then let's start the question. That means we are considering 4-digit number. That's the first thing. And we have how many 4-digit number will be greater than 4,000? But here we have 5 digits. We have 1, 7, 3, 8 and 2. Now if you arrange all these numbers, for example, if I want to start with 1, if I start with, let's say 1, I want to make it a 4-digit number. That I can say 1, 7, maybe 2 and 3. You know that this is not greater than 4,000, so it is cancelled. It does not qualify for the condition. For example, if I start with 3, maybe I start with 3, 7. Okay, so let me use white. Hence I start with 3, 7, 8 and maybe 1. Does not qualify for what we are looking for. So the only numbers that can qualify, that will start a number, that will make this thing work out, is just 2 numbers, which are 7 and what? And 8. So when we are considering 4 digits, numbers that will be greater than 4,000, I can't use 2 to start, I can't use 3 to start, I can't use 1 to start, so I have to use either 7 or 8. So considering our first digits, we have only what? 2 ways. That's 7 and 8 are the numbers, so that will give us what? 2 ways. That means it's only in 2 ways we can get a number that is greater than 4,000. So we've qualified for our first condition, qualified for the first condition. Then the second condition says odd numbers. Sorry, I did not consider that. Odd number needs to be considered. Odd numbers. Now, how many numbers are odd numbers for the second digit? As you can see, we only have what? We only have 3 numbers that are odd numbers, and the numbers are, that's 1, we have 3, and we have what? We have 7 as an odd number. So the rest are even number. So for the second digits, considering odd numbers, we have 1, 7 and 3 odd numbers. That means the odd numbers can be formed in 3 different ways, like their number 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3 is what you write in their ways. Then we are going to 4 digits. The second one says we have to get the third and the fourth digits. So for the third digit, we are told that if repetition is allowed. So if you are to accept repetition, that means the numbers are, like when you pick the numbers from these 5 numbers, it's still going to remain the same amount of numbers. If you are told that repetition is not allowed, that means it will just remain 3 numbers left, because you've picked here, you've picked here. But when repetition is allowed, means you still have that same amount of number. So the amount of number we still have will still be 5 digits, because we still have all our numbers. That's 5 ways. So for the 4th digit also, repetition is also allowed, so you still have what? 5 ways also. So looking at what we have here, the arrangement will be equals to, that will be 2, these 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, which is equals to, so if you use a calculator, we have 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, and that's equals to 150. So we have 150 ways as our final answer. I know this, if you are not really clear with this, just on our YouTube channel, expect to have more tutorials on permutation and combination and repetition. Just anticipate that we'll be having that soon, and also other topics that you feel are difficult to you. You can leave a comment in the end. You can leave your comments on what topic you feel is difficult for you, so we can make tutorials based on that. Moving to question 3. Now back to question 3. So question 3 says evaluate the integral. This is an integration question. 3, limit of 3 and 1, 3x minus 2 raised to the power of 5 dx. Okay, so what method are we going to use in solving this to make our work easier? We have to use this substitution method. So in the substitution method, you represent like a whole function with a simpler function. Like I can just represent the whole of this with u. I can use any letter, I can use b or m or whatever, but I just prefer u. That will be 3x minus 2. That means everything is represented with what? With the letter u. Then we can just put it into it like this is 3 and 1, u raised to the power of 5 dx. Now if you notice, we cannot integrate this. We cannot integrate u in respect to dx, so we have to change our dx in respect to du. So the simple thing nowadays is that let me differentiate this. When you are differentiating, du over dx will be the differential of 3x is 3, while this is 0. So I'll just make my dx the subject of formula. Dx will be du over what? 3. Then I represent it back. 3 limit of 3 and 1, u raised to the power 5 du over 3. I'll put my 1 over 3 out here. Then I'll have integral of u raised to the power 5 du. So you know, in integration, I omitted this on purpose. We are going to use it later. I omitted the 3 and 1. So let's integrate. Once we are integrating, this will be u raised to the power 5 plus 1 divided by 5 plus 1. So that will give us 1 over 3 u raised to power, this is like a dot, u raised to power 6 divided by what? 6. So once you multiply, we have u raised to power 6 over 18. So you remember that we represented our u with 3x minus 2, so you put it back, divided by 18. Now this is now our final answer. We have to do the limits, so I can now put my 3 and 1 back. Why don't I use it here? Because this 3 and 1 is for the x. That means I have to represent it in x here, but I can't use it because of we have u here, but now I can use it. So the simple thing to do is just wherever you see x, put 3 and you put 1. So I'll put this 1 over 18 out here to avoid disturbance. Then first thing, wherever I see x, I'm putting my 3. I'll put my 3 rather 6 here, minus, there must be a minus sign. So if I want to use the second one, I must first put minus 1 minus 2 raised to the power of what? 6. So what will you have here? You have 1 over 18. So we have 3 times 3 is 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. So we have 7 raised to the power 6. What is 7 raised to the power 6? 7 raised to the power of 6, okay, is 1177649. So let me minus with okay, if I say minus 2, okay, yes, 7 raised to the power, sorry, that's 7 raised to the power of 6 is this. So I have 7 raised to the power of 6. Okay, let me get 7 raised to the power of 6 minus, okay, what do we have here? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have 1 raised to the power of 6. So let's get our final answer. 7 raised to the power of 6 minus 1. That will give us this. Now divided by 18. See our answer. Our answer is 6,536. So we have 6,536. So this is our final answer for question 3. So see you in question 4. On to question 4. We have if 3x squared plus 3x minus 2, 3x squared plus 3x minus 2 divided by x minus 1, x plus 1 equals to p plus q divided by x minus 1 plus r divided by x plus 1. So we have to find the value of q and r. Okay, so the thing is, this is the partial fraction question. First thing you have to identify is that when I multiply these together, if I multiply x minus 1, x plus 1, if I multiply this, I will have x times x is x squared, x times this will be plus x this time will be minus x, right? Minus 1. So we are going to have this will be x squared minus, and this is 0. So if you notice, the numerator is greater than the denominator. That's like an improper fraction. So the first thing you have to do is to first divide. This is how you take it step by step in your exam. That's you have 3x squared plus 3x. Should have even gotten the clue from the question in the format. You see that p comes first. That means p is like an whole number. So we have x squared minus 1. Let's just start. So how will you divide this in polynomial? You have 3x squared divided by x squared is what? Let's have a little jot ahead. 3x squared divided by x squared. This cancels this. So what do you have? You have 3, right? Okay, 3 times this is 3x squared. This is how you solve it. 3 times minus 1 is what? Minus 3. So you subtract them the way you do long division in either junior or primary school, whatever. So this is 3x squared minus 3x squared is 0. You don't have to put that there. Plus 3x, it has no family here, so you just write it down there. 3x. Okay, so this is the y question. Minus 2 plus 3 is plus 1, right? Okay, so now this is your x, is your p, right? And this is the one you divide with. What I mean is that your p now is equals to 3, while you now solve for 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 1, x plus 1. So that will give you your q over x minus 1 plus r over x plus 1. So this is the next thing we are going to now. So I will try to delete the whole of this. So I will write that. Okay, so let's write that. Remember, we have 3x plus 1 divided by x minus 1, x plus 1. So now equals to q over x minus 1 plus r over x plus 1. So what you just have to do is just equate them. This will be 3x plus 1 will be equals to, you divide this by this. Once you divide this by the whole of this, what do you have? You have q bracket x plus 1 plus r bracket, divide this by this. What is left is x minus 1. So there are two methods. Is either you open the whole of this and equate it to this, or you can just input values. What do I mean by inputting values? Look at what we cancel out. If I say, let's see, I say x equals to 1, you will notice that this one will disappear. Why? Because 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 times r will give you 0. So this one cancels out like this, just like to cancel out this way. Okay, coming to cancel out. So once this cancels out, it will just remain the whole of this. Okay, let's just try something. We have, let's just with 3 brackets 1 plus 1 equals to q bracket 1 plus 1 plus r bracket 1 minus 1. So we have 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1, that's 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 times q is 2q. So divide both sides by 2. Your q will be equals to 4 divided by 2. So our q is what? 2. So can you guess what are we going to use to get our value of r? Okay, you can just say when x equals to minus 1. So this one will cancel out. You get, so if I put 3 brackets minus 1 plus 1 equals to q bracket minus 1 plus 1 plus r bracket minus 1 minus 1. Let me cut this out so we'll not get confused. Okay, so let's move on. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. Minus 3 plus 1 gives you minus 2. This is 0. This will give you minus 2 of r. So divide both sides by minus 2. Your r will give you what? 1. So we have q equals to 2 and r equals to 1. So that's your final answer for this Waec question 4. So let's move on to question 5. Alright, so we'll be solving question 5 now. So question 5 says the table shows the distribution of marks scored by 64 students. That means the total number of students we have in this class, they are 64 in number in a test. Draw an histogram for the distribution, then use the histogram to determine the modal score. Histogram is just like a chart. That's a chart. Don't mind my drawing. I'm still going to draw the main chart on a graph. Histogram is like a chart, so it has the frequency here, and it has the class boundaries. So what we have to do is that to get the frequency and the class boundary, we have to first put it in a table in Waec so as to have our full marks. So just input in your table here, this 10 to 19, here is 20 to 19. These are the class mark. I prepared the table before, and 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. So when we are talking about lower class boundary, that's the LCB, and upper class boundary, it means you just subtract from the first number, subtract from 0.5, and here you add with 0.5. So if you subtract this 0.5, you have 9.5. This does like a dash just to separate them, is nothing serious. Why this one is what 19.5. If you add 0.5, this one will be also 19.5. Subtracted 0.5 from 20, this one will be 29.5. So you have 29.5 here to 39.5. Here you have 39.5. So you have 0.5, that will be 49.5. Here will be 49.5 to 59.5. We have 59.5 to 69.5. You have 69.5 here to 79.5. Okay, 79.5, 89.5, here 89.5 to 99.5. So inputting the frequency here is 2. So I didn't write that well. Let me erase that. Okay, so I'll erase this. Okay, so that's these two, right? So this 8, 13, 11, 11, 12, 10, and 4. So addition of everything will give you these 64 students you have here. So now this how we should draw an histogram. First thing, these are table, so the next step is to draw an histogram. That's our next step. Alright, here will be drawing our graph for the histogram. So this part, this vertical axis should be the frequency. It's going to be the frequency part, while the horizontal axis will be the class boundaries. So I know you might be asking your as that, will it be the upper or the lower class boundary? Actually, you start from all the boundaries. Remember, we're having here was 9.5 like that, so you start from 9.5. So let's label our y-axis. So our y-axis, the frequency axis, is best is start from 2, because the highest number here is kind of 13. So if you take it 2, that's from 0 here. If you take it 2, it will be best. So I advise we take it 2. So here will be 4, here will be 6, this 8, this 10, this 12, and this 14. So you can stop at 14. Then for the class boundaries, here is 9.5. We have 19.5, right? 29.5, 39.5, 49.5, 59.5, 69.5, 79.5, 89.5, and it stopped at 99.5. I know you must have been asking that we did not use a certain unit for this part. Yes, for the class boundaries in histogram, note, don't use boundaries. You don't need boundaries for even in your Waec question. Check it anyway. Waec questions, histogram, you don't need boundaries at you don't need skill for the boundaries. There's no need for skill for the boundaries for Waec questions. So now let's look at our question here. We have from 9.5 to 19.5 is 2. So you have to draw a chart of 2. So I'll be using this to draw my chart. Okay, starting from here to here is 2. Okay, because you bear with me if it's not smooth enough. Then these 2, then from 19.5 to 9.5 is also 2. So I'm going to draw something similar to that also here. So I'm having something like this. Okay, then from 29.5 to 39 is 8. So we have to move as far as 8. So 8 is from here. So we draw a line. Yes. So the same thing, draw it from here downward. So we have something like this. Okay, sorry for that. Then from 39.5 to 49.5 is 13. So I think you should expect 13 should be at the middle. So if you count like this, okay, if we count with our pen, this is 12. This, the middle of this should be around here. So then let's draw it out. Let's mark it out. So marking it out, you start from here straight down to this point, straight down. So I have something like this. Okay, so okay, looking at 59.5 to 49.5, 59.5 is 11. So 11 should be at the middle, and the middle should be around somewhere around here. So that's the middle is here. So from here to this place, and even will continue like that. Okay, so we can draw it from here. So okay, so the same thing for 59.5 to 69.5 is 11. All this is just to show you an illustration, and it might not be smooth enough. I'm really sorry for that. But if you are using your graph, it can't be like this, because we are using more of a software to draw this. That's why it's kind of not smooth enough. But trust me, if you are using your graph, you should have something like this. You should have something better than this. So now back to 12. If you, as you can see, it's 69.5 to this is 12. So I'll start like this. Okay, starting off this way. Okay, sorry, 12 should be here, right? Okay, so alright, now so the next thing is 70. We have 79.5 to 9.5 is 10. So our 10 is marked out here. From here, draw out this to have 10. Okay, then this is what, 4, so 4 should be this. Okay, so this is 4, so that we have a very rough sketch, must confess, of our work here. So now we've drawn this histogram, we've gotten our marks for E. Though this is the exact way you do it, you get your full marks, but I don't think I'll get my full marks for this because it's not smooth enough. Alright, use B, use the histogram to estimate the modal score. Now how do you use histogram to get a modal score? Now there are ways whereby we do it. The thing is that look at the highest number. Have you noticed the highest number? So if you've noticed the highest number, you kind of trace it out. Like, okay, I'll still be using this. You trace it, like you use the highest number to the place that is the closest. Alright, your modal score here will be equals to, as you can see here, this part is 39.5, so I write 39.5. There's an addition because we have to count the number of holes we have here. So if I'm counting the number of holes I have here, I think 2 holes are left, so I have 8 additional holes. Now the question is, what does 1 hole signify? That's the question. Each hole signifies 1, because from here to here to this part here, you can zoom in the video if you want to see. From here to this part here is like 40.5, 41.5, 42.5, 43.5, 44.5, 46.5, 47.5, 48.5, 49.5. so that's how it goes. So if you now calculate it, that's like there's an additional 8, so you should know what we should get. We should get what, 47.5 as our modal score. So our modal score for the student, that's the number of score that occurred in this class of in this class. They are meant to get from 10 to 99. They were getting from 10 to 99. So the people that had the highest number of people that had this kind of mark was 47.5 was the marks. So this is your final answer. Please you get the remaining part of the past question in other videos that will be sharing their links, or you can just check it on SwiftLearn. So thank you for watching this. Please feel free to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.